Ah! I was muted at the start, but we're here now. Hello, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Johnny Baghead. Unmuted, as always. Never mind what you saw earlier. I should have known. But yes, I'm back. It's a hot one, as usual. That's just what summers are like now. But that's why I'm not on camera today. Plus, I need to really get my bag sorted. My main one still needs repairing. I haven't done it mainly because of the heat. I'm worried about it not setting properly. Plus, I have to work with some hot stuff. But I think Baghead with hair I'm going to do some modifications on as well. But, yeah, we're going to try and... fingers crossed, I think we should be able to. But we're going to try finish Dynasty Warriors 2 today. One of the PlayStation 2's launch titles. We've done campaigns for a character in 2 of the 3 families. So we're going to do someone from Sal's family, which I forget what the family name is. We'll see that soon. Maybe we'll look into trying to unlock Lubu, but it does seem like a pain having to play that second mission in a very odd way. So we might just do the character playthrough and finish it there. And then get to ranking. Plus, I've got some games over from the Bad Game Hall of Fame playthroughs to rank. We've got Gunfighter 2, Revenge of Jesse James. We've got SAS Anti-Terror Force. And there's a couple of games, 1 or 2 maybe. I think I want to move because now having, been a co-host with the Bad Game Hall of Fame for coming up to 2 years, it really changes your perspective on what an actual bad video game is. There's some games that there's one in particular I'm thinking of that's like, no, you know what, now, compared to everything else that's in its category, does not deserve to be there. It'd be really unfair. So, let's get to the game here. But yeah, if you're just joining, I do play on original hardware. I do use digital backups just so I can use NTSC copies. That's definitely not a viable thing to import NTSC copies for everything, especially with how bad shipping costs are nowadays. But aside from that, original hardware, using the Retrovision HD component out into the RetroTink. It is beautiful. But yes, yeah, we did one with this family, one with this. So, think this is my bro usually when I play as this family, Zhao Hundun. So I think we're gonna give him a play.
I shall be your opponent.
Wow, they gave him a weird voice in this one.
Russian you be your opponent.
And yes, back to the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Drinking Thai Fu peach iced tea. Not great. It's not bad, but it is probably the worst iced tea I've had. It's very mild. You do not get much taste with it. But otherwise, it's nice. And some water. Make sure y'all stay hydrated out there. But yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah, still playing on easy difficulty because this game is kind of bullshit in a lot of ways. Okay, he's surprisingly quick. Let's help these bros out. I'll definitely say from the forefront here, I'm fairly confident where this is going to rank. I knew pretty quickly. Oh, hang on a second. I've got a phone call. Sorry about that. I wonder if it's a difficulty thing. Because I feel like when I played through the first character, Zhao Yun, I think his name is. I swear he did not have as much armor. And when I say armor, that's very fighting game term, but it applies here. Again, the series started as a fighting game. But armor is when you can take hits without it interrupting your animations. In like a FromSoft game, it would be poise. I think, though, I think in some instances it has a different name. But yeah, this is, you know, with the a console launch, and it's kind of changed now because we are years from when, you know, hardware upgrades, like full generation upgrades, are going to be major. It's something I think, you know, some audiences have not gotten used to. But you know, you directly compare what games were like on the PlayStation 1 in the 2000s versus what the PlayStation 2 could do, and it was, you know, an immediate upgrade in a lot of cases. Like, the big one obviously was just the performance was a huge jump. Like, despite some of the jankiness with the visuals with this game, it is running at 60 FPS, and it only drops in very specific cases. Its draw distance and popping with enemies leaves a lot to be desired. I think even by the sequel, they already massively improved it in that regard. But that said, this does feel like a launch title from this era. I feel like when we got into 3D for the first like generation or two, and even a little bit of like 7th generation, a lot of launch titles were more tech demos than they were like actual experiences. That's definitely not the case with all the PlayStation 2 launch titles, but that's definitely how I feel about this one. I wonder if that move stuns in the same way as the other combos do. I'm surprised I already have this many KOs. This starting point seems to have like way more enemies. Yeah, do you know what I should probably do? I think there's a... Yep. There we go. And yeah, if you've not seen the streams before, if you ever wonder why on pretty much all named enemies you only ever see me do like 2 to 3 hit regular combos, is this game has an incredibly annoying quirk where named officers will automatically heal or buff themselves when they're knocked down at certain health value. It is incredibly annoying design. Honestly, just like anything else about this game, it is probably the weakest because it directly stops you from using a lot of mechanics the game has. Like, for example, there's launchers that you can do combos into, and then, oh, actually don't do those because that's bad. You don't want to knock enemies down. And there's a lot of inputs and moves that have knockdown properties. I'd definitely say they did modify these designs in the series over time. Not quite, from what I've seen, not quite a fan of the Dynasty Warrior 5 designs where they got really, like, anime with it. But I feel like in this one, Zhao Hu Dun just kind of looks like Cao Cao. Just an alternative costume. But it's actually kind of hard to hit with that move. Granted, this first level, regardless of the difficulty you do, most of the enemies go down very quick. Oh! Wow, how did I not notice that earlier? One of those noises there that lets you know when things happen is just the, like, menu confirm sound from Tekken 3. That one. That dwing. I recognize that. Wow, the guy I picked, it's funny. Just before I got into this playthrough, I was watching some of Game Center CX's first season. Back when they would do more developer interviews in history. And Arino goes to Tecmo Koei and talks to the main guy, and then, you know, this big bit on Dynasty Warriors. Which I think, like, 4 was about to come out during that interview. That's kind of the era it was. And then mentioning, like, the Zhao Dun, whatever his name is. The spear guy I played in part 1 and 2 was supposed to be, like, the all-rounder beginner. Maybe that's true later. In this first game, he was the worst. Like, he didn't have a lot of sweeping range on his attacks. And his Muso attack was the same. He was mostly felt like he was designed for one-on-one fights. Which is funny because that makes you kind of useless in this game. Because again, one-on-one fights suck, honestly. There you go, you get off of there. God, I can't get over that voice. He sounds so weird.
Get out of here.
It's like a henchman in a Ninja Turtles cartoon. There we go. Something I'm pretty confident about saying is I think your difficulty level changes how many enemy drops there are, like item drops, which is also bullshit. Like, I think you can have some amount of messing with health values and stuff for difficulty levels, but ultimately, I feel if you're doing the difficulty level properly, it should be... Oh no, the enemies are harder to fight in a strategy, like, combat sense, not a, oh yeah, it takes 10 extra hits to KO this guy. Like, ideally, oh yeah, the enemy might be more aggressive, they might have moves that they would only do on that difficulty level. Devil May Cry, always big on that. That when you get to Son of Sparta and Dante Must Die, you'll see attacks that you won't see on the other difficulties. They still do the damage modifier thing, but it's not the main difference maker. Because, you know, by the time you you have to unlock the harder difficulty, it's essentially your New Game Plus mode. But yeah, if I can, again, we talked about this before, if I can find a really good consistent list on what the actual PlayStation 2 launch titles were, because depending on what list I look at, it's very inconsistent. I think at the very minimum, I would try and do every North American and PAL launch title list. Though I might extend that to, oh, this game came out within a week or two as well. It's just a shame because, again, for some stuff out there, a lot of history, launch dates, things like that just aren't catalogued. And you don't really have official sources out there either to back you up. You know, like I'm thinking in a Wikipedia sense, it's like, yeah, outside of finding a press release for a website that says, oh yeah, this is when this came out. Wow, that's real janky. It worked. Let's thin the herd a bit here. Yeah, I definitely see more what some of the strategy stuff I read for this mentions that you are really the difference maker. That, like, where you advance up, where you clear out enemy gates and things like that does seem to more carry the momentum of fights. Oh, we should probably take you out. Get out of here. Yeah. Like, every other character I've played as, their Muso attack either has really good sweep or they advance forward while doing the attack. So it works out in a good way for crowd control. But that first guy did not have that. There we go. Again, some stuff out there is wrong, and he claims that if you do higher hitting combos as finishers on officers, you get more stats up. That does not seem true at all. Also, health ups are kind of hidden in weird places. Turns out. They're not based on leveling up. You have to know where the pots are that spawn the health up items. Trying to figure out where the morale's heading. How are you guys having so much trouble? There's barely anyone here. That might be an enemy gate here, so I might... Yep, here we go. These stop reinforcements from coming in. Yep. Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit because I'll really have to figure it out. But I still think I'm at the point where I'm gonna be deciding most of the PS2 playthroughs to kind of keep the theme in, not consistent, but make sure there's like a good variety. We're kind of covering the notable stuff. But I'm actually at the point now where I'm a little unsure what to do next. I don't want to do a shooter quite yet, though I have been in the mood for one. Because Time Splitters 1 was not that long ago. And though I was thinking Onimusha, that might be a bit too similar to this. But I was thinking Onimusha just because I've been doing so much around Keiji Inafune. And I didn't realize he was the main producer on that series until recently. But yeah, if you're there for it, on Tuesday, Bad Game Hall of Fame, we started our Mighty Number 9 playthrough in celebration of that game's 10-year anniversary. And yeah, I did the history section on that, and though I don't do them as quickly as Cassidy, one of our other co-hosts, it was a quicker turnaround for me. I think I did it in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I felt like the main thing I was thinking about for a couple of weeks was just it was just that guy. It was just his career, his weird hot takes on the industry and the difference between like Japanese and American sensibilities, and some real wild takes about how like, oh, job security is actually bad. It's better. And like US companies, they don't have subcontractor mentalities. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You have no idea what you're saying. Like, hindsight's 20/20, but I think even in 2010, you could have found plenty of examples that would have shown that that was not universally or even often the case. Yeah, might as well clear these out. There we go. My bodyguards are doing okay, but let's just be sure. Oh wow, they'd only just... Yeah. Just waiting for those guys to come through. But yeah, you lose points if your bodyguards get KO'd. There we go. But it is a thing to remember in retrospect about Keiji Inafune, is that no, his entire career was not a train wreck. There was definitely, after the fact, a lot of shine came off the guy. And there is a question now of, well, how much was he actually responsible for his success? But, you know, he was the primary shepherd of the Mega Man franchise since Mega Man 3. Had been doing design, character designs, and a lot of work on different parts of the series for a very long time. Like even Mega Man 9 and 10, he did some of the, you know, Robot Master designs on. You know, Dead Rising 1 and 2, he was the executive producer on, and kind of managing those projects. Yeah, Onimusha is one I mean to check out. I just, at the time, I wouldn't have really heard about it. It's a recurring thing you'll hear from me, especially from my older console era, is just if I didn't have demos, if my official UK PlayStation magazines weren't covering it, I didn't know about it. Like, word of mouth was a lot more limited in the pre-internet days. It's like, okay, only, you know, if you didn't have friends or family who were into it, you just didn't hear about it. I didn't get into Street Fighter style fighting games until way later because though my sisters were into Street Fighter Alpha 2 in the Super Nintendo days, after that they basically just didn't really play those. Once they got to PlayStation 1, they didn't play anything like that anymore. It was just Tekken really. And you know, that was kind of after that was the dark period for the 2D fighter. Oh, that's not the block button. Wow. I'm shocked I've got a KO so high on this first level. I think I've just slowly learned how this game wants to be played. At this point, I could probably just run ahead. I want to keep the bodyguards alive. Get the good amount of XP early on. Because I don't think it really improves your stats. But it improves their stats, the level ups. Makes them actually worth something. Okay, I'm going to push forward a bit here because I think I'm just fighting the same bunch of respawning enemies over and over again. There we go. Yeah, I got to think if any of the Mega Man games. There aren't many. Oh, hey, welcome back to Street. Lowland. Yep. Finishing off. Dynasty Warriors 2 today. Yep, German for the nasty. Whew. Get out of here. But yeah, obviously I know about, speaking of Mega Man PlayStation 2 era, I know X7 is infamous. That's a very bad one. So if we ever see that, that's going to be on the Bad Game Hall of Fame for sure. Oh, Lowland saying, it feels so weird to see a Muso game with a character this close to the player character. Yeah, they did move it out a little bit after this. But, again, it's a strange thing because for a long time this series cared more about performance and keeping the frame rate at 60. That was always the priority, outside of the busted, weird version of Dynasty Warriors 6 on PS2. It wasn't until they got to PlayStation 3 360 where they were more just about, oh, let's just put too many enemies on screen and we'll just kill the frame rate. I mean, no one was really trying to do good frame rate performance that generation. It was hard to find. Yeah, let's clear some of you out. But that is a funny thing about going back to the 6th generation, is that though looking back at it, it's often more thought about as a generation where we didn't really care about frame rate performance as much, at least from, you know, customer review side. You think about some of the highly regarded PlayStation 2 games, or even, you know, like GameCube, Xbox, and some of those games would run terrible. Especially the PlayStation 2 versions. They're not always. Sometimes the PlayStation 2 version would actually be the better running one. But not... But at the same time, some developers would actually target 60. Would more be the priority. Which was almost unheard of from the previous generation. You know, PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64. Well, let's Sega Saturn as well. Like, outside of some specific fighting games, you didn't really get 60 FPS on those systems very often. Oh, good job, Cal. Well, Sauren. Nope. Well, okay. He's scarpered. We'll deal with him another time. And yeah, there's Mega Man X8, though, from what I understand, that is a better game than X7, but it's not good. By any means. It is just not as bad. And I wouldn't really count, like, compilation stuff. I know there are... You know, like, oh, here's a compilation games that have all the Mega Mans and the Mega Man X's. So I guess it's that weird RPG one they did. Was it Command Mission? That'd be the only one, really, I'd cover. And, you know, I'm definitely not planning on doing, like, mass amounts of the library. You know, when it comes to games where it's just like, yeah... Who cares? This is obvious mid, or, you know, there's not much to say about it. But we'll see. How are these all captains? Captain of what? That voice! Every time. Makes me laugh. I mean, we won't get to the really amazing voice acting in the series until 3. But at least we have whatever fucking voice they were going for with Zhao Hu here. That's for fuck's sake. I've noticed this with the running attacks, that they often miss crates. When you run up to them. Ding. Oh yeah. That guy doing his fire attacks. Like, look. Hang on, let me try and do the running attack here. There we go. I'll save. I still love finding save files just in the middle of these missions. Oh, we hear the crowd. There we go. Oh, there are a lot of captains around here. Gonna try and clear more out so we keep our bodyguards alive. Plus, yeah, if you pick up healing items, it heals your bodyguards as well. Funny enough, a game I briefly replayed a bit of, and I'll probably bring it to a casual Monday at some point, is the Fissa North Star Ken's Rage. that the Dynasty Warrior devs made. It's a bit weird because it's kind of... You would call it a Muso game, but it actually is quite different from most of their output. It actually has a very reduced enemy count for the most part. The levels are a lot tighter. Like, when you do the single player, you're actually going through mostly linear, like, beat-em-up style levels. It's a side mode you play that has the, like, style Muso mode, and even then it's a little different from this. It's all about, like, taking checkpoints. It's kind of like a Battlefield gameplay mode. But I still really like that game. It's real janky in places, but it just feels so authentic to the source material. It's a lot of dumb fun. They do some real fun, weird ideas with the dream mode. The, like, what ifs of, like, oh yeah, what if this character became the hero of the story, or like, this character turned evil and this character turned good, and all little bits like that.
Get out of here.
Okay, yeah, here's a 1-2. Yeah, his 2-hit triangle move does stun still. Yeah, I didn't mean to knock you down. There we go. Oh no, he stunned me. Oh yeah, also there is a parry you can do that costs some Muso meter, but you would never want to do it on an officer because it knocks down. And then they do shit like that where they heal. At the very least, they do... There's only so many heals they have, but then they'll start doing buffs instead. Oh. Nope. Yeah. What's annoying, the final officer, like the win condition one, will drop buff items. They are near impossible to get because they don't give you that extra grace time like the later games do. So you just have to be really lucky that the item spawns where you're standing. Damn, 700. There we go. But yeah, I meant to look it up, but I never found out. I don't think your class going up, like the character class, does anything. I think it's just the guard class that improves things. Look at the difference there. Yeah, if anyone's curious, again, I'm not on camera today. It's too hot. I do have a fan that's got like an air cooling function.
We cannot overlook
it works okay.
The time has come to destroy this traitor.
But you know, in the UK, you don't really have
shall prevail.
the same options.
Attack!
It's like, yeah, if someone wants to give me fucking thousands of pounds to install an AC.
You pitiful fools.
Yeah, sure. There he is. There's Lubu. I'm not looking at the backgrounds right now because we've heard them all. It'll only be different once we get to level 3. So yeah, let's get into it. I think we will be starting in a new location. From what I remember, I think each army starts in different parts. Yes, just get off the horse. There we go. Horse is like maybe good if you don't want to take damage, but you can't really do a lot of damage in crowd control with it. Oh. But yeah, this is the mission that you're supposed to get 1,000 KOs in to unlock Lubu. Though, from what I read, you have to play in such a specific way. Because you don't want the AI officers to take out most. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Honestly, I need the upgrades. So... And I think I might be the wrong character anyway, because you have to... There's a specific route. What I understand is you have to basically, from the start, go to a different character's route. And do a lot of stuff to go out of your way to keep enemies coming in and make sure that your other officers are not advancing and clearing gates and things like that. You definitely have to leave the gate captains alive. But I think I would have to have higher stats as well, so I could clear, you know, these lower level troops out quicker. Because yeah, you have to be quick as well. And yeah, your bodyguards as well will sometimes steal kills. It's a whole mess. I mean, I get it in a sense because, you know, the whole thing with Lubu is he's supposed to be this amazing legendary mercenary. Like, well, the strongest warrior of the time. So they wanted to, you know, put him behind tough unlocks. Like, heck, even on easy, choosing to fight him is quite a bold strategy. Sure, we'll get the defense up. But this game, more so than 3, 4, and 5, from what I can tell, has this issue of just... Oh yeah, sometimes they have to just straight up despawn enemies who are like a meter away from you. Like, as technically impressive as this would have been in the year 2000, it's definitely... There's a lot of room for improvement with the technical issues of this. And, you know, it's not a pretty looking game. Like, despite how much the PS2 version of 6 was criticized for how it looks way better than this. Oh, there he is. Honestly surprised we saw him this early. Hello, Gate Captain. Although I'm saying this reminds me, I still want to get Dynasty Warriors 9 complete on PC. I forget which one that is. Is that the open world one? I don't hear good things about it. Yeah, there are Steam sales going on. I got something in sale at least. There is a decent amount on sale. It just depends what your tastes are. But I don't know how often Dynasty Warriors stuff goes on sale. I could see that being a series that doesn't go on sale often. But no, from people I know who are more in the know, I hear that Zero is a kind of return to form for the series. Oh, okay, so Tecmo has a sale, just not for 9. I guess in theory, they see it as too recent. Oh! No! That's funny. Okay, so that cutscene did not explain it very well. But, there's a legend with this guy that he got shot in the eye with an arrow. And then, to, like, you know, freak out his enemies, he rips the arrow out with his eye and eats the eyeball. Okay. So everything else that's on Steam for Dynasty Warriors is on sale except 9 because they don't want to acknowledge it. You'd think then they would just put it really cheap because who's going to buy it at full price? This is funny actually. After the Mighty Number 9, the first episode, I felt a bit bad about my performance because I hadn't really practiced it. Like we did have a little bit of parsec hiccups. But either way, I was like, you know what? I want to mess with this, maybe get a bit better. So I looked, and I don't know if it's anymore. But when I looked, it was like, oh, this is on, my number 9's on sale for another, like 2 days. So I got the game with the DLC for like $3, £3-4, something like that. And it's like, at that point, I would, like, how many people are, I feel like that's a game people would only ever buy on sale. But I get at the same time, oh, fuck. My running attack knocked me off. At the same time, you would, you know, this is a marketing thing, right? That a game, like this is a non-retail thing. It's not just video games. But you put something up, its recommended retail price. It's not the price you expect it to sell for. Also, yeah, check out how fucked skyboxes are in this game. It's like it's parallax scrolling. It's so weird looking. But by setting a price that you know you're never going to sell it at and then constantly putting it on sale, it looks like people are getting a deal when they might not necessarily get in it. And then, look, granted, buying Mighty Number 9 for a couple of bucks, you are getting a deal. But considering that game's poor reputation, I have to imagine the vast majority of people are not buying it at full price. That's probably a game that like every other week is probably going on sale. Because that's the only way you're going to get people to buy it. But it is funny. Some bad games, that's not the case. Sometimes, yeah, the publisher will just forget about it and never reduce the price. But, you know, because they don't want people to think about it. So see, Logan saying it was an interesting attempt to make something different, but it was half-baked. I mean, I get the idea. I think also as well, it was coming at a time where I think a lot of, you know, gamers were just sick. A lot of games had already tried the pivot to open world. It was already a very tired idea. And, like, Dynasty Warriors, from my understanding, had been in a bad place for a few years already. Where they were content carving the games more and more, like stripping out more of the move sets and the characters and making them just DLC. Just real scummy stuff. Like, it's at the same time, it's not that unheard of when you think about how these games were released in the PlayStation 2 era, where they would put fucking multiple expansions out for each game. You know, they would do Empires and Extreme Legends that weren't really full new releases. At a certain point, they would just kind of like take, you know, like getting into reskinning territory. Like, I wouldn't say Dynasty Warriors 3, 4, 5 are reskins of each other, but there's maybe an argument that Empires, like each Empires game, is not doing too much different from the last one. It's more just the general stuff around. Oh, wow. Oh, the camera freaked out there. But we'll see. I'm not going to do... I don't know how much I'm going to play of those. But I feel like when I rank 3, 4, 5, I'm going to include... You know, I'm going to include every expansion as, like, one whole package, you know? Especially because there were some releases that did release them as whole packages. I think they still came on separate discs, but from a marketing standpoint, they were like, oh yeah, these are expansions to the base game. Let's clear you guys out. The thing is, on top of one of these archer places, at least one of the other checkpoints, there's health up. Health ups are real rare. So I want to try and find them. Oh yeah, I see you use the tier list commands. If anyone sticks around, we will be doing some updating the tier list. This game, a couple of Bad Game Hall of Fame playthroughs, and there's 1 or 2 games I think I want to move. I think they are ranked too low compared to what I understand a proper bad video game to be at this point. Oh yeah, I've done 2 of the Fatal Frame games. I did the first one. Oh, I loved the first one. In a certain regard, I might actually like parts of the first game more than the second one. Like, the second one is a better game overall. But, and mainly, I played a ROM hack. Well, I used ROM hacks for both of them. I used undub mods because the English voiceover, especially in the first one, is real bad. It's just not good. It is goofy. It undermines the horror a lot. But the ROM hack I used did some other stuff. It also added proper widescreen. And it also disabled some of the filters that the PlayStation 2 version has. That honestly should be turned off. Like, the motion, the ghosting blur is too severe. That game, I'm fine with the noise filter, but the ghosting effect they do really makes that game look harder to look at. A lot of early PlayStation 2 games kind of would mess with some of those effects and not really realize that they didn't always need to be used that often. You know, they work in cutscenes or specific moments, but, you know, moderation is the key to success there. Okay, I'm just gonna head down. And then, yeah, for Fatal Frame 2, that was a much simpler ROM hack. That was just an undub. Though, at the time, I did have to do some funky stuff because the ROM hack that was out there didn't work on real hardware. And it turns out that the patcher hadn't updated the file properly to account for, like, the file size change. And I hopefully they've rolled out that, because someone in the GitHub was like, hey, here's what you need to do to get this to work on real hardware, so it recognizes the proper disc size change. I will say for Fatal Frame 2, that does feel like a game that you would want to play twice to get the hard mode ending and the final boss. But I think what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to try and get... I'm going to do this anyway. I need to get my original Xbox repaired. And I think I'm going to play through the Xbox version to see the new endings in that and see the changes. I know Fatal Frame 1 had an Xbox version. Maybe I'll play that one as well because I know that has some extra content. But I'm going to try and do Fatal Frame 3 this October. Because that's what I've done for the last Octobers, is I did Fatal Frame 1, then I did 2. But yeah, it's weird. Like, some aspects of Fatal Frame 2 I liked more, but I think Fatal Frame 1 is a scarier game. And I prefer the music in the first one. It's like a lot more horror. Whereas I think the second one is focused more on like the traditional Japanese, like more authentic to the setting, which is fine. But they get into more noise music in the first one that I think creates the atmosphere. Also, the story of like 1 and 2, they're very similar. Like, the premises are very similar to each other. It's just, what if 2 is just what if twins? But it covers, yeah, Lauren. So I think the second one doesn't really have much music. Yeah. But you know, 2 has way more locale. Also, I think I maybe prefer how the combat worked in the first game, where it was more like you charged attacks as opposed to the like reaction ones. There he is. There's the Lubu. I did see someone play a bit of the Fatal Frame 2, the recent remake, because of course it's the second remake, technically the third if you count the Xbox version. It seemed fine. But I have to say, taking out the fixed camera really kills a lot of that game's horror and atmosphere and storytelling. It's actually quite faithful in terms of the level layouts. Like, some of the level layouts are one-to-one. But they do add some, like, new gameplay sequences. But it's definitely seems like less of a survival horror game than the original. Just the fact they have mechanics, like, when you are partnered up with your sister, she heals you. It's like, well, that's not very survival horror. That you can just regen health. But I didn't see the whole game, so I don't know how much they changed. Again, didn't seem bad. It's just, I didn't really see much point to it. I feel like they could have just made a new game with what they were doing. Oh shit, I lost a bodyguard. Yeah, let's take some of these ads out. I'm the wrong person to ask though, because I'm so burnt out on remakes now. The industry got run out of ideas. Just everyone saw Resident Evil 2 2019 do well, and everyone's decided, why don't we just all do that? And it's like, not all these games need this. Some of these games hold up. Like, Resident Evil 2, I think, is the PlayStation 1 version is old enough that you can do a modern take on it that isn't just retreading the same ground. There's enough there to make a different version, but at the same time, that original version, despite what some people might say, I think still has merit in modern times. Okay, I think all my bodyguards died. And after I killed Lubu as well. Oh no, one more. One's left. He's not long for this world. Unless one of the... Noticing not many health drops. There we go. That'll help him out. Earlier on, I was getting way more. I don't know why I didn't get many there. There we go. Well, bodyguard, that's just on you. Okay, I think I need to take out this gate captain. Yeah, should have done that. I didn't mean to, though. It's very easy to accidentally do the run-in attack when you don't mean to. There we go. Wow, my other allies have not really pushed up much at all. Heck, even my allies have barely pushed up. That's fine, though. If you play these levels right, you can just solo go and almost like sequence break sometimes. Hold on, so this reminds me, let's get Bladestorm. Bladestorm, why do I remember that name? What game was Bladestorm? Try and remember which one that is. Take that! Haha! Oh, Bladestorm is Tecmoko's take on the 100-Year War. Okay. Yeah, I know there are a couple of Muso games that are like based on non-Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There's like there's a Troy one that was made by a Canadian version of Koei. That's apparently not very good. But it's just fascinating that they opened up like a Canadian studio briefly. Oh, in Bladestorm you can't solo find entire. Yeah. Alright.
Get out of here.
Okay, so Bladestorm you can't really solo. The main gameplay twist you need to team up with squad and coordinate, which fans didn't appreciate. Yeah, fair enough. See, that sounds kind of cool because I mean, there's a little bit of that in this first one actually. There's like a couple of fights, especially if you play on normal difficulty, where running off on your own is actually not a very good idea. There we go. Oh, Bladestorm. Okay, I understand. Oh yeah, if it runs well, yeah. I know. Japanese studios are not always the best when it comes to PC versions of their games. Okay. There we go. So some of the other armies are slowly pushing their way up.
Get out of here.
I mean, I'll keep fighting here. I'm curious if they're just going to keep sending reinforcements or if I actually am thinning out the herd here. Granted, I'm very far away from the 1000 still, so I don't know if I would spend that much time doing this. There we go. It is funny to think that a couple of different companies and studios have tried to do their own take on the Musou genre, and I can't really think of any that have gone that well, or were that well regarded. You know, there's Konami's 99 Nights, which at this point in time is most famous for Tuck Fuji's 99 Nights 2, like, Konami press conference presentation. That is probably the most famous thing about that series now. I actually did play the first one. I rented it for 360. And it had some interesting ideas. The levels were a bit more linear. And they were trying to do some interesting, like, particle effects and things like that. But it ran, like, terribly. There was a witch who did water-based attacks. And, yeah, like, anytime you did any spell that used water, the frame rate would just tank. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think I'm at a point right now where just... They might just be constantly respawning here, because I'm not pushing up. Eventually, the other armies, I think, would catch up to where I am. Because they are slowly making some progress. Not completely, but they're getting there. God, I'm surprised how fucking sweaty I am. Even with the fan on. Ah, these guys do not like to drop healing items. I'm keeping my bodyguard alive as long as possible. Where are you going? But yeah, I know that. I know it because I loaded up briefly. There's the Spartan Total Warrior, I think the name of it is, on PlayStation 2, which is like a take on this style of game. I know it's not exactly the same; it has some differences. And I guess, in a way, that's what a state of emergency is. No, the gameplay of state, like the actual mission progression and thing like that in State of Emergency is very different. Yeah, despite all the strats I read, it might be slow, but I wonder if this is actually the best way to get the 1,000 KOs. Like, because I've advanced up far enough. There's my bodyguard. He died finally. It tried for a long time. We hardly knew ye, bodyguard A. But because the other, you know, factions, officers on my side haven't been advancing up at the same speed, and I'm at a point where the main officers aren't charging at me, but they must be coming out of the gates. No, 666. Nope. Well, it's gone already.
Get out of here.
I didn't want to do this because it seemed a bit boring, but I'm already so close now. I feel like I can't go back now. Oh shit, I'm still getting arrows at me. Oh, not great Muso use there. There we go. Why did I take damage there? I was blocking. I find it funny that some of them also just run past me as well. I don't know what their AI thinks they're doing. Okay. I definitely need to be careful. My backup has almost broken through. And I bet if I'd left Lubu alive, I would have more troops to deal with here. Oh, we're so close now. Might open the window in a second and see if that helps with the heat. I don't know if it will, but... Because, yeah, despite it looks like there's a lot of enemies that I've gone past that are in the other sectors, if I go that way, it's just going to kind of clear the way for the other armies to advance up. And yeah, they are doing it. Yep, see. They are making their way. Oh yeah, lucky number 777. God, if I do get the 1,000 this way, that'd be really funny based on all the guides that have these like super in-depth methods for doing it. God, they really don't like to drop healing items, do they? Guess that's the only thing I'm really have to be careful of. Oh, there we go. 800. Oh, they're moaning at me. You're too far ahead. Says who? I've killed like 500 people over here. There we go. There's a hill. Also find the inputs a bit weird in this one. Like the timing you have to do to get the combos out. You have to be very mashy sometimes. I don't know why they think I'm too far ahead. Especially because they are very close to breaking through. Come on, come on. Whoop, whoop. Oh, okay. Now I've got to be careful. But I did see hill. There we go. Yeah, you have to look around a bit sometimes to find the healing items because they don't stay on the map for very long. This is probably just arrows. Oh no, it's a save. You know what? We're gonna safety save here. It's a good thing I left that so long. Look at that, 139 kills away. Oh, so yeah, I forgot. If you use the memory cards, it just fully heals you. Where are you going? But yeah, when I was looking up FAQs for this, they were like, the guides mentioned, you know, playing free mode. Oh fuck, here we go. This could be the end of it. If I've got an ally here now, they might push forward. Why are you attacking me, you asshole? Yeah. I wonder if the strat might be just to let him get killed. Probably not. I think he's healed himself there. Oh, you've got to be careful with the arrows. I can't back up too far. But I think as long as I don't push too forward, I don't think my allies will go too forward either. There we go. What's weird about the arrows is they're firing from up above, right? But their shots are hitting me sideways. You know what I'm going to do? It's going to be very weird. I'm going to back up and do some enemy fighting over here. Actually, no. You know what? Look. I think me backing up a bit has made my army back up as well. Oh. Okay. We're just gonna see what we can do here. Okay, that's good. I'm fine with that. Oh dear, this might not go the way I wanted. The thing is, as long as I don't take out, obviously, the final boss, the gate captain, and the named officer, more troops should spawn in, is my understanding of it. Oh, interesting. His ambush came in finally. Okay. Yeah. Oh, by Jove, I think we can do this. We will be kind of close, though. Okay, good. More coming in. No, don't secure the gate, motherfucker. Okay, we're fine. There we go. You enjoy all you enjoy all the killing, that's why. Snake. Hey, these are KOs. That's what it says. You can't prove otherwise. Okay, if you say so, lady. I'm so shocked I managed to get away with that. Because my understanding is that getting the 1000s is so hard here just because as you're getting kills, you're improving your army's morale, and that makes the other troops like despawn. I guess after playing this game for like 12 plus hours though, you really learn the ideal way. There we go. Let's just finish you off. No knockdowns because you're an asshole. Oh, I think I saw his fucking stat boost spawn and I missed it. I guess what rings true that doing it from Sal's side is the easiest way because the other armies don't advance up. Alright. Bodyguard's leveled up a bit. More health. And 2 more with me. Whew. So yeah, in theory I've unlocked Lubu. But I guess there's no message confirming it.
I'll give you one more chance to surrender.
Damn. The true battle is not fought with men. It is fought with this.
Wow, is that fucking Alucard from Symphony of the Night? That sounded a lot like him. I'm interested in this.
The Alliance had destroyed the ambition of Dong Zhuo. Still, the Han remained powerless as each lord began to dream his own dreams of conquest and power. War once again brings chaos to China. Each lord pitted his ambition and his remaining men against all comers. The warring states period was at hand.
Yeah, look out for Cao, he's a comer.
2 lords stood out. Yuan Xiao, master of the 4 provinces of Hebei, and Cao Cao, guardian of the emperor. In the year 200, these great lords faced off at Guandu. Only one would survive to gain control of the richest land of China. The heavens weep. The land groans. Battle once again is joined.
Alright. I think this is a level I haven't done yet. I could be wrong. I don't think this came up in the other campaigns. Oh, we can see some of that culling shenanigans there. It's funny to me that they push the enemy count in this first one too high already. That they have to despawn them, even if they're a couple feet within range. Oh, what am I doing? There we go. God, the music in this one is strange. It's very experimental in places, just like weird instrumentation samples they'll use. But it's weird as well, because you can hear some of the groundwork into what would eventually be like the really iconic music in the Dynasty Warriors games. But this ain't it, Chief. Also, because this is a CD-based game, like a lot of the PlayStation 2 launch titles, the songs are pretty short. You don't get like change in music like you were doing for. I assume 3 does that as well, but I don't know. Oh, there's some slowdown. There we go. This game runs at lock 60 most of the time, but it's not immune to slowdown. Look at them all fucking popping. Again, you could have maybe have 10% less enemies on screen if you're gonna have these issues, and allies, I guess, because they do affect the culling as well. Oh, I need that. There we go. Oh, and you. There we go. But yeah, look at that. That's the technical side of this game I think is unacceptable. I'm gonna check the map quick. Okay. It's also fun. Yeah, I know Romance of the Three Kingdoms is not a incredibly accurate depiction of the Three Kingdoms era, the record of the Three Kingdoms. It's like, it's still somewhat, but it takes liberties, romanticizes the story, that kind of thing. I do find it interesting in this first game. You can do a lot of stuff that doesn't happen in history. For example, in that second level, the fact you can just defeat Lubu and his mistress, and they don't even run away. They just die. And so yeah, I still want to read the actual Romance of the Three Kingdoms story, but I don't know which translation to go with. Funny enough, I did do some research on this, and I did find recommendations. In a second, I'll bring up what I found out. It depends if you want to go for the abridged versions or not. Because yeah, at least in the UK, the current abridged versions is done by Penguin, is the name of the publisher. But I did some research. Yeah, little Karibo's abridged Romance of Three Kingdoms. Well, heck, we almost got Keiji Inafune's abridged Romance of the Three Kingdoms if his Kaio King of Pirates game had ever come out. But yeah, let me check my... I put them on my phone, actually, because I do want to read them myself. Also, yeah, if you check my Twitch page, I do have a throne. It's pretty much all stuff that would be used on stream besides the the Three Kingdom novels, but it would come up. Yeah, let me look at the description here again. So yeah, when I did research, the 2 volumes that is most recommended is the Three Kingdoms, a historical novel, complete and unabridged translation by Moss Roberts, which is available in like 2 volumes. There is a abridged version of it as well. No, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. But yeah, from the research I did, that seemed to be the recommended version. There's also some podcasts out there that apparently take you through it. And I think there are even some websites that just have translations that are like public domain now that you could just read for free. But funny enough, so Romance of the Three Kingdoms is based on an actual manuscript called The Record of the Three Kingdoms, which is an even more massive historic... That's the actual history record. That has never been fully translated in English, apparently, from what I was looking up. Like, specific parts have been, but no one's indebted to translate the whole thing because it's that big. It goes through, you know, hundreds of years of history, I believe.
Get out of here.
Yeah, let's take these archers out. I know they're more of a problem in the 3rd one, but archers can actually fuck your shit up quite quickly in this one. Let's clear these guys out. Help my bodyguard stay alive. Okay, yeah, so the main commander is south of here.
Get out of here.
Who honestly should probably be my main focus. It's a shame. I would play on normal to get more of a challenge, but it's just so unfair, this game, on normal. It feels like the way they wanted you to play this was to grind stats and levels in the free mode to play on normal difficulty. Nice attack up. I'll take it. Because you don't even get that good stat ups, even. Like 1 point. There we go. Get these. There we go. God, this song, this synth is so goofy sounding. There we go. But yeah, it's good. It's taking out named officers. Not only do you get the stat ups, but it eliminates any of the army that's under them. It's actually a quicker way you take out enemies. Like, it obviously doesn't show up in the kill count, but that's where you're reducing the troops mostly, is taking out the named officers. Like, any of the troops associated with them would, like, run off the map once you do that. Oh man, so it's really annoying the ones they put up in the towers, because you can't really shoot at them. I have to like come up here and I don't know. What? Okay. I can forget it. Also, I haven't found any of the health ups in this playthrough yet, which is annoying. I'm gonna take out this gate first. I think some of the named officers can drop health ups as well, but it's the really high level ones. So you don't see them that often anyway. You know, fucking Lu Bu Demon drop health up. And he's supposed to be one of the strongest characters in the game. Oh, look at all these 2D sprites, that's cute. Hello, lads.
Get out of here.
Oh, sorry, it's a bit with the heat and stuff. I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, get up, yeah. Oh, hello. Don't show the skybox there.
Get out of here.
Oh, I need health badly, actually. There we go. This shows you how much each level in the campaign like steps up in terms of like the enemy health and attack damage, though. Like most of the enemies now have double or triple the amount of health as enemies did in the first one. I am double space, the hero.
Get out of here.
Yep, we'll save. I had a feeling. There was going to be saves in there. They're like sayings every time you they come back stronger. To a point, yeah. It is funny in some of the fights where you defeat the officers and they just get up and they're like, oh, I'm going to go now, see ya. Oh, he healed. Okay. He must have gotten knocked down. And, yep, and that's the annoying thing with this game. There we go. I think I cheesed that level. I don't think that's how you really meant to do it. Just... But they start you off, like, really close to him. Alright. Right, General. Oh, mate, you're a right General. You are. What's that? That was level 3. Yeah, 2 more. And then, we can look at Lubu. Not going to do a full... I don't think he even has a proper campaign mode. I think he only has free mode.
Wu will fall before my might.
If I might make a suggestion.
You mean this?
God, these cutscenes are so funny when you don't really get the context.
Cao Cao emerges victorious from his battle with the vastly larger forces of Yuan Shi.
Oh, yeah, I remember this
His
stage.
victory makes him the Lord of the Central Plains. By the year 208, Cao Cao had consolidated his hold over most of northern China.
I think I did this
He
as the
turned
Sun
his
army
attention
previously.
south. Cao easily conquered Jing and scattered Liu Bei and his men. He then pushed east in an attempt to take Yang.
God, they start me in a weird spot, don't they? That's just a dead end.
Sun Quan, ruler of Yang, was greatly outnumbered. Still, he sent his small but very skilled navy out to meet the forces of Cao Cao. Cao Cao must face the Wu navy and its general, Zhou Yu, in a battle the likes of which he has never fought before.
Right. Oh, okay. Despite what that map looked like, it does connect up. The fuck is this song doing? This almost sounds like a proper Dynasty Warriors song, especially with the harmonizing guitar melody. But it's missing a lot. Oh, we got vocals. Nice. Attack up 1. light. You can't even see them. There's enemies here, I swear. Also, the sequence drums, they sound like very artificial in this game. Let me get these before they despawn. Oh, that was lucky. I managed to juggle him enough to take him out without him healing. Okay, yeah. Definitely want to take out the gate captain here. There we go. Take out a few here, but don't need to focus on them too much. God, imagine I just head this way and just bust the main army there. Oh, scratching. This feels like a beat that Limp Bizkit would say, nah, we're good. we can do better. They're certainly experimenting, but yeah. Oh. Come on, stop blocking. There we go. Yep, we'll save here. Yeah, the spawn rate of meat buns seems very inconsistent. This game does always make me hungry for meat buns, though, which is bad. I don't have access to any, though, so... Not from here. I'd have to go out and get them. Alright, there's the fire boats, I think, is coming in. Oh, they caught me drinking my iced tea. Oh yeah, this guy. Where is he? Sure will. Want to help these guys out a little bit. Oh, there he is. God, I keep losing track of that guy I'm fighting. There he is. Oh, he healed at some point. Of course he did. I'm fighting you right now, mate. You don't have time to be doing that. Oh, I'm heaven sent apparently. Oh, okay, that's not the end of it. I love they're dropping all the morale right after I like took out one of their main guys. Oh, Lions, if they want to see a cooler picture of this actual battle, they should check out the movie Red Cliff. I remember, yeah, I think that came up in my research as well. I believe there's also a TV show that some people recommended that's supposed to be a good telling of the Romance of Three Kingdoms. I forget if it's Chinese or Japanese made, but reportedly it's, you know, very accurate to the source material. Get out the tent. What are you doing? Okay. You know, I'm not going to push too far forward, I think. I think I'm going to try and help them out. Plus, I might be able to pick up some health. It's a very different history, but it just reminds me, you know, trying to cover history from so long ago, especially in an age where, for a lot of parts of the world, we just, you know, people weren't writing stuff down. A lot of stuff was being passed through word of mouth, and obviously, you know, stories change, memory is unreliable. Everyone remembers things differently. It's specifically making me think of the show Vikings. I think the original series is an Amazon one, but there's like a sequel series. It's like 100 or 200 years later that was on Netflix. But it follows like Ragnar, I think his name is. And how much of that the show they were like straight up, hey, we had to guess for a lot of this stuff because a lot of people don't even know how much of this story is legends or not. We know Ragnar's real because we have recorded history of his younger brother and his sons, but we actually can't really confirm anything about him when he was alive, apparently. Like, a lot of his story is more myth than legend. I know there's some dispute with some scholars about the idea of one of his wives being a shield maiden, and if shield maidens even existed. But from what I've looked into, there's plenty of examples of either female Vikings being buried only specifically the way warriors are, or accounts from armies that they fought saying that they found women amongst the dead. So it's like, well, this is really dumb, legit. When I looked into this, what I found was scholars saying, hey, we found this stuff that maybe changes our understanding of history. Maybe there were female Vikings who would fight in battle. And then another historian would go, well, we established they aren't, so any example you find, I'm going to explain away as being a weird exception to the rule. Oh, this one, you found this burial site where women were buried as warriors. I'm going to make up history. Maybe they were just husbands of warriors that were buried in a special way. It's like, well, okay, is there any other examples of that? No. Like, to me, that is the antithesis of being a historian. Like, your whole thing should be, if you find something that disproves your understanding of things before, you're supposed to update your understanding of the world. Not go, nah, we decided that none of the females were warriors. And anytime we find an example that fits our known history of what a warrior was in that society, I'll just come up with a bullshit reason to say that it's not. It's just... like, here's the thing. You could maybe argue, potentially, these exceptions exist, right? That some female warrior was buried, or a woman was buried in a way that is like a female warrior, but she was never in a war herself. Right? Whatever. The point is that you can't assume one or the other unless the evidence suggests it. And if your evidence is just, oh, well, this is what we thought before we found the new evidence. Well, that's not how you work. You're supposed to incorporate new evidence. You can't just discount new evidence when it contradicts old evidence. But yeah, even though that's specifically Viking stuff, I imagine so much of history. Obviously, we've lost so much. Fuck's sake, we've lost, like, history from the last 100 years, so much gets lost. You know, I talk about video game stuff and how many games we don't really know when they launched. We don't really know how successful they were, if they sold well. Because companies didn't have to be forthcoming with how many copies they sold, or would just lie. You know, there's a couple of games we'll cover on the Bad Game Hall of Fame, and our estimate for a launch window sometimes is an entire year. It's like, we think this came out in 95, but we found reviews from 94, so we don't know. Yeah, take you guys out. Okay. Now I'm just gonna try and finish this off now. I'm hoping, yeah, I can get away with it. Yeah, Lone in the chat saying, yeah, it's a little depressing how little documentation there is about the creative process behind so many games, past and present. Yeah, when, you know, I'm proud of the research and the stuff we did for the Mighty Number 9 history section, but a thing that comes up in the history are people mentioning it's not common for Japanese developers to do post-mortems like even the ones they did. And there's still a lot we don't know. You know, we only know most of the fuck-ups with their communication, misrepresenting the budget, things like that. If the stuff that, like, we really want to find out, like why the design issues are in the game, considering the pedigree involved, we don't really have that info. As far, like, I couldn't find anything that would go in this, you know, the most I found was a comment suggesting that, that the Inti Create side were mostly new hires. But I can't really confirm that. And even then, that's not necessarily a reason. At the end of the day, like, a lot of that comes from the top down, you know. That comes off more just a misunderstanding of how the industry works, assuming that, oh yeah, it's, you know, ground floor development's the issue. But, you know, maybe the newbies are the producer. Like, for example, I know one of the producers for Inti, I don't know on what side, but, Nick Yu is one of the ones we cited in the history. As far as I know, I don't think he had worked on anything before, like a video game. Which might explain some of the issues like his communication issues. But, you know, they had composers who had been working in the industry, level designers who'd been working a long time. It's just, yeah, weird. And yeah, it's great anyone who does interview people and we get those insights. Again, I think of that Sega 16 interview we briefly referenced in the history section that talks about, you know, a guy who, an American guy, got hired to work in Japan and then worked for Sega of America, worked on the Pico, things like that. And just how many times in the interview he shit talks Yuji Naka. Just everyone he talks about, he has nice things to say. Even ones where he's like, they could sometimes be, you know, angry, but they, you know, their hearts were in the right place. Yuji Naka just never had anything nice to say. Hey, look at that. That was probably the better thing to do than try and go back and save HQ there. Something I want to potentially do as well, because with the Bad Game Hall of Fame, right, so often the story is not just about the game, it's about the reception. You know, either it being rated worse than, you know, than it's regarded, or higher than it's regarded. And I was thinking about Driver 3 recently, because someone was asking about the alleged Driver Gate stuff with the future publishing reviews that were early and gave it glowing ones. I have to look into it. I would love to interview one of those reviewers and like get some definitive quotes on just, you know, there's all this narrative out there about, you know,
Prime Minister.
being not paid, but you know, getting benefits for positive coverage and things like that. I would love just to hear from the reviewer like how much they actually knew about any of that. Because I wouldn't be shocked if the reviewer said, "Yeah, no, we weren't involved. We were just given the game."
I've been waiting for this.
I'd love to look into that stuff. But yeah, no, I've only messed with Driver 3 a few times. Driver 1 was my jam. 2, from what I've played, 2 is the better game. I've got to get back to finishing it. I did finish Driver 1. Driver 1 has some really bullshit missions though, especially at the end game. The final mission, where you have to escort the president while police cars are trying to destroy you. Oh, that mission fucking sucked. It was so hard.
Battle of Chi-Bi, Cao Cao goes on to take the major cities of Wu and Jingye. The majority of the land now lies in his control. Liu Bei flees east to the land of Shu. There he takes control and nurses his strength. He moves to take control of Jing as well. After gathering strength, Liu Bei begins to make frequent forays into the
okay, so your problem's the on-foot stuff. Like I said, I've not beat Driver 2. But, you know, what I've played of it, the on-foot stuff's very basic. You don't do much of it. It's mostly just swap a car, or, you know, like run up to the train, you know, the subway one when you get onto the trains. I mean, you say they should have saved that for the PS2 era. Driver 3, one of the biggest issues is the on-foot stuff. When I hear reviews or complaints about it, it's always that their attempts to do on-foot and shooting is terrible.
Only one outcome. The fate of China is about to be decided.
Whereas for Driver 2, the on-foot stuff is impressive. Just, you know, it's mostly just for functional sake, but the fact of just, oh yeah, you get out in fully 3D. Because you have to remember, Grand Theft Auto was top-down 2D at the time, and a lot more clunky. It was trying to do more, but because of that, everything was clunky. But yeah, no, Driver 1 and 2 were kind of considered beating Grand Theft Auto for a while. And also, funnily, the portable takes on the series were actually better for Driver for a long time as well. Like, we didn't get a decent, like, portable... But it's probably the PSP ones. Some people might be fond of Grand Theft Auto 3D, the Game Boy Advance one that's based in the Liberty City map from GTA 3. I didn't like that one. It's doing a bit too much for the hardware, I find. It doesn't run as bad as I remembered, but it definitely is really hard to play. Lowen saying, I recently tried Driver Parallel Lines. It wasn't bad, but not as well. Yeah. I'm curious about that one. It seems like they played it really safe, but maybe too much. I am curious about it, though, just because it's, you know, it's got that whole gimmick of the, you know, you do the map in 2 different time settings. You know, you start in the 70s and then you come back in the 2000s. Something I find funny about that game, at least the PS2 version, is that game is always in widescreen. Regardless of what your video output is. If you play it in 4:3, it just has massive black bars on the screen. Oh, that's interesting. So I tried emulating Driver San Francisco on PlayStation 3, but the gameplay gimmick that was presented was silly. I could take the game seriously. Appreciate it. You should go back. Honestly, the gameplay hook of that, they do so many fun things with it. it is honestly... No, Driving San Francisco is one of my favorite, like, of that style of driving games ever. You think the concept is silly, but then when you realize that it's... You know, you talked about how awkward the on-foot stuff is. They literally found a way to do car swapping without the on-foot stuff. And they come up with such interesting ideas. You know, swap into oncoming traffic and driving it into your foes. Missions where you're driving a car but watching it from a different point of view. Or... You know, seeking different vehicle types and using them. Like, they just do so much fun stuff with it. And especially with some of the endgame stuff that I won't spoil. Nah, I get why some people who really like the kind of like the pure take on the series, like the really gritty take you would have seen in 1 and 2. But considering that the premise, like they're open about it. The premise is you're in a coma. It's not real. You know, they're not saying you've literally got magical powers. It's just that you're, like, going through your mind palace and these magical abilities kind of represent, like, an ideal ability like Tanner has. You know, like, oh, if he could really express his driving as he wanted, he would just... You know, because dreams don't make sense. You just randomly... Yeah, fuck it, I'm this other person now. And they do fun stuff with the cutscenes, where he, like, hops into people, you know, Quantum Leap style, when he has to pick up their lives. I definitely recommend giving it another try. One thing I want to do, though, is check out the Wii version, which is actually essentially a completely different game. It's doing a lot of the same things, but I don't know if it even has the same power stuff, but it's a similar map, but it's apparently pretty good. There's some other kind of, you know, 7th gen to Wii titles that don't always hold up. I hear that one is interesting. Something that is funny about Driver Parallel Lines, by the way, is that map is actually being used in like 3 or 4 different games. So it was in Driver Parallel Lines. And then there's the PSP one, Driver 76, which I believe is a prequel, and that uses the same map. And then... Oh god, I'm going to forget the name of this game. It's a DS game. What's it called? I should know this. Let me see if I can find this out quickly. I know who made it, so if I just look up the dev name. Oh yeah, COP the Recruit. It's a DS game that looks like it was supposed to be in the Driver series, but it's not. But it's the map from Driver. It's from Parallel Lines. It's the Parallel Lines map. So it's basically like a spin-off game. Also, there's the weird 3DS Driver San Francisco game that's made by VD Dev. They're the cop devs. I need to look into that. I do have it, but I only like loaded up to make sure my copy was all good. But yeah, there's a lot of weird, interesting driver games that weren't made by like the main team that don't get talked about much. Yeah, I'm gonna go across the way here. God, there's whoever played the guitar here, the amount of like fret sliding you can hear. I mean, you know, it's hard to play a guitar without hearing a little bit of that. But this is a bit sloppy to hear, like, constantly. Lawrence, I guess the ultimate problem with the Driver franchise is the games aren't bad or anything. They're just not as good as competition. I mean, I think the problem with them is when they were trying to compete with where GTA went up, like 3 onwards. That's why I think Driver San Francisco is so good, because it's clearly not trying to be Grand Theft Auto. It is more focused on being a driving game. Because, like, Grand Theft Auto was never really about how good the driving model or the combat. Like, no part of it ever really felt great. It was just it bringing all those systems together in a compelling way. Not to say they were bad. Combat in Grand Theft Auto 3 was bad. Don't get me wrong. It really wasn't until San Andreas. But most of it was serviceable, you know? And yeah, it really took like around like 4 or 5 where they started to kind of be more focused on trying to make some aspects of the gameplay feel better. Though, even if the driving model is super realistic, in 4, I don't think it fits the game. A lot of the time, they kind of want you to do driving that the driving model doesn't allow you to do. Basically, like, you know, when you're having to chase certain enemies and things like that, they are faster than you are. They can take corners in a way that you never could. Take your crossbow guys out. Don't knock him down, you idiots. They like it when you do that. There we go. Like, yeah, the better way to think of, you know, Driver San Francisco is it's more competing with like a Need for Speed. Oh, yeah, Saboteur. I recently replayed through the Saboteur. It was great. I still love that game. I get why it wouldn't review like 9, 10 out of 10. But I just think that game's great. And I can't think of many flaws with it. Honestly. Like, the setting is cool. It's actually... and I know this might seem ironic because the game has the whole black and white gimmick. But obviously you do recolor the world. When the world is colorful, it's actually one of the more colorful games from that era. Compared to most 7th gen games. Hey-ya! Like, the shooting feels good. The gimmick is fun. The kind of like semi Hitman style gameplay put into like an open world game. It's such a cool game. It's a bit funny because it's a very like pop comic kind of take on World War II. It's not super accurate. Like, for example, a lot of the radio music that plays when you're driving is not era appropriate. Oh, Finn seemed to be going bad on the side there. Hang on. Sorry, I got a BRB for just a minute. Something's come. Gotta get at the front door. Let's look at the other, the Miss Piggy and the Fonzo, whatever. The Gonzo table, quick. Oh god, this table looks even worse. And the audio is so crusty. You could get way better audio than this out of a Game Boy Advance. They must have took up like file size space. Either because they've got too much audio samples or the way they've done the graphics. There we go. What the fuck? Why does this always happen to me? There we go. I'm back. Yeah, we have a meal kit that comes every Saturday. It came quite late, but happens sometimes. Alright. Let's see if I can help. One of these. Here we go. Oh no! Much bomb. Alright, that's one guy. I don't... It's rare, but sometimes the stat boost... There we go. It doesn't drop where they die. It's weird. Oh yeah, this guy. Well, let's take this guy out as well. There we go. Why'd you fall over? Hey, come back here. Yeah. Oh, attack up 4. That's good. Take these guys out. Lolan asked if I just killed Reinhardt. He did look a bit Reinhardt-y, yeah. God, it's been a long time since I played Overwatch. There was a time I was really into it. I think there's like a point where they added too many heroes. It was whenever they kind of took away the tank roles or something. Just before like 2 launched and they really fucked with the balance and they changed it to like 5-on-5 and the roll queue stuff. Maybe one day I'd go back to it, but also just, you know, it felt like if you wanted to have any fun with it, like getting skins was such a took so much work if you weren't putting money into it. It's like, I already fucking paid for the game, you know? And just all that stuff they were planning for that second one, and they just completely cut it as well, really. It took the wind out of my sails for that. Because some of the events where they did, like, the co-op single, like, PvE stuff was really fun. It felt like they could have done it if they had tried. Alright, well, let's take this gate out. I'm sure this will... It always helps, plus we'll get, some stats. You have to play match twice. Yeah, because they do... It's because you have to play from each side, right? I don't mind that too much. It's more just from what I hear. They started to lock, like, what roles people could pick. Like, you couldn't do fun stuff, like have, like, 2 medics or so many tanks and stuff like that. I don't know, I think it was trying to encourage people to queue for certain roles and stuff. But I never had a problem picking the medic ones. It was fun to do medic. There was never... There were some medics that were harder to play as. But I don't think I ever ran into a point where it was like, I don't... There's a role I just refuse to play, you know? Okay. But yeah, I don't play too much like that versus kind of stuff again. There's a couple of games that do tempt me. I'm always tempted to play Timefall 2 again. I love the Timefall 2 multiplayer. It's such a shame fucking Apex Legends overtook it, because I've messed with Apex Legends and it's just... It's missing so much of the stuff that makes Timefall 2 fun. And there was another one I was thinking about recently, but I can't remember what it was. But I've been meaning to do it for a long time. There's an SSD that I brought ages ago that I need to hook up into my PC, but it's gonna take some time, and I need to unplug everything from the PC and move where it is to get it in. So I've kind of put it off, because I know it's going to take me a long time to do it. Oh, it's the Prime Minister! Oh, you know what this reminds me of? I need to get back to watching Thunderbolt Fantasy at some point. It's a wushu show. But instead of it being animated, it's all done with puppets. And it's a beautiful show. Looks amazing. It's a weird thing, though. I would say, I wish the show wasn't 60 FPS. I think it actually looks better without being... What? What was that? When you wish upon a star? Was that my shooting star that's giving me courage? Because like the openings they do are like lower frame rate, and I feel like, you know, it's that whole soap opera look that a lot of high frame rate shows do. It looks more puppetry than if they had done it at a lower frame rate, I feel like. You know, I feel like when you watch claymation stuff that's done at 20, frames per second, at a certain point, you kind of forget that it's animated. Yeah, uncanny valley camera speed, yeah. It's a very minor gripe, though. Because they do frame... Like for certain actions, they'll drop the frame rate and things like that. I think that's why they filmed it at 60. I just kind of wish they had edited it so that the show had a consistent... Like, it stuck to... You know, was it like... It's like 25 or something, roughly. The, like, typical movie frame rate. There he is. Sorry, mate. I've got chaos that I need to bring to the land, so I need to take you out. Yeah, let's take some of these guys out. Oh, yep, no, you gotta heal. The bodyguards don't really understand the knockdown rule, which shows you just how bullshit this game is. Stop knocking him down. Like, it feels like something that someone must have added in late game to kind of... They thought the game was too easy. There we go. Something hit me in the last frame there. Yippee! But yeah, that was a very interesting route I took there. Like, going forward and then going all the way round. I probably could have just beelined it to the guy, but I think I kept my army stronger by just helping them out on the side there. But yeah, Thunderbolt Fantasy, really cool, worth watching. Like, it's amazing the action they get those puppets to do at times. Really good music as well.
The long and dark age of chaos has finally been brought to an end by the hand of Cao Cao. The land is once again brought.
Wow, these end cutscenes literally are just identical. They just swap the models. God, the endings are so pathetic in this one. Same with these. The text will just be, this guy did well here. It's literally, it's just gonna say, here's this battle. Which is a shame. Yeah. I mean, that really shows you how early this was for PlayStation 2. Because it has a lot of PlayStation 1-ness. Not in its gameplay or its graphic quality, but definitely in its presentation at times. So they didn't want to get too creative with history. They definitely got more creative with the history. It's more just they don't want to... what I'd rather the endings be... Oh, yeah. This funky end music. Okay, well, we've heard this. Oh, yeah, we can't skip these. You know what I'm going to do, then? While this music plays. We're going to tier this. Because I know where this is going to go. I've known this for a long time, if I'm being honest. Dynasty Warriors 2. if I'm being honest, is mid. I've had some fun with it, but it's very even for Dynasty Warriors, it's very mechanically shallow. The presentation is so basic. The lack of voices makes it really hard to keep track of commands and things going on in the battlefield. Even if it's technically impressive, they definitely didn't optimize it very well, so all the pop-ins sometimes when you're fighting groups is egregious. And just how much the knockdown punishment ruins the gameplay. Like, it kills... It takes so many tools away from you. It makes knocking down, doing air juggles, all that kind of stuff bad. Because if you do that, the bosses will heal. It's weird to say, but that design alone undermines so much of the game. Like, and just how bare bones this game is, it really feels like a tech demo more than anything else. It feels like a tech demo that was gussied up a bit. It doesn't feel like a properly fleshed out design video game. I think 3 onwards does, to be clear. I'm not saying this is indicative of Dynasty Warriors. If you look, actually, I've got Dynasty Warriors 4 in the good tier. Though we will be replaying that one as well. But, yeah, this first one has some good points to it. Also, just the difficulty being so unbalanced. Like, if you play it on easy, it's nearly trivial, and you can like run straight to the enemy commander and just beat the levels. But if you play on normal, it's one of the hardest games I've played for the ranking. Like, I was struggling with like Medal of Honor Frontline. This was worse, and it's for cheap reasons. It's like, yeah, you can't knock down enemies, or you know, you have to play certain battles a very certain way, or you have to grind out stats and things like that. So yeah, look, even though I had some fun with it, I think this is a game you don't have to revisit outside of like just seeing where the series started. You know, because it's part of the challenge, I don't regret growing through it, but I would be hard pressed to recommend this to anyone, because a lot of what makes Dynasty Warriors good is so clunky and missed out on here. Now, before we get to the rest of the tiering, I just want to see if we did unlock Lubu. I think we did. Yep, there he is. And yeah, look at his starting stats compared to the others. Like, she's leveled up. He's already leveled up. Oh, nice. And we can fight from the Yellow Turban side as well. Yeah, I'm gonna just load him up quickly, see his moves, and then we'll do some more ranking stuff. Lowen says, with this game, it's enough to know that it exists and it led to the other stuff, and this is, yeah, it is immediately overshadowed by the sequels. Alright, so here he is. Oh, wow. He knocks him really high in the air with his launcher. That's his stun move there. Then 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have a lot of sweep moves, though. He definitely feels like he's built for one-on-one. Because you see, apart from his fourth hit here, it's a lot of vertical. Like, there's a little sweep on the beginning there. I guess with all the spear users, they kind of go for this more one-on-one thing. But I do want to see his 1, 2, 3 triangle. Yeah. Okay, he's got a good spin move at least. Basically, in this game, as long as your character spins for their Muso attack, they're good. Yeah. funny enough you say that, Lauren. There's friend of the show, Kuss, who's one of the PlayStation 2 challenge runners who's trying to beat... I think he's essentially going for every English title. I know he's doing it all PAL ones, but he's also playing a couple North American exclusives and even some Japanese ones, but at least he's going for all PAL. He did every character. He did every character, which was... And even he said, no, don't do it. Because it took him like 50 hours. But, yeah. And especially how long it takes to unlock stuff. Like, if you want to play as, like, Liu Bei, Cao Cao, you need to... I think it's, like, 3 characters for their each, like, faction to unlock them. And, you know, these missions aren't short. They give you maximum time, 100 minutes, you know? But, we've got some more ranking to do quick. So let me bring the tier list up again. We've got 2 games that we played over at the Bad Game Hall of Fame. So... And I have to think on these ones. Gunfighter 2, Revenge of Jesse James. It is not amazing. I don't know if I would quit bad. It is definitely cheap. It's actually a lot better than the first game. The first game, the first level's okay, and then it falls off a cliff immediately. The second one at least tries a lot of interesting stuff. I think I'm going to put this one in the bad but good category, because it's very cheap, it's very rough around the edges, it's building off a lot of assets from the PlayStation 1 game. But despite that, I think it's actually the fun one of the 2. But I don't think in my right mind I can call it good. And I think... So this next one is SAS Anti-Terror Force. It's also known as... I think the title the box art I have here is GSG9. And it's also GIGN. It depends on the region. I think... There's some entertaining aspects of it. Here's the thing. This is a hard one for me because I don't think it ranks anywhere on this scale. Anything in the just bad category, these are games where I really struggle to find redeeming parts of it. Or if I do enjoy it, it's almost entirely ironic. You know, like a Final Fight Streetwise, stuff like that. You know, Jackass the game. Lifeline, if the voice stuff worked, it would be higher, but it's a fundamentally broken game. I honestly think SAS Anti-Terror Force beats this tier. But I don't think I could even put it in mid. Because when I think of the games that are in here, they're far more stable. Like, you know, mid games are ones where it's just like, they do okay. They do what they're set out to do, but they're not exceptional. There's not really anything majorly positive I can say. So I think this is also going to go in the bad but good tier. That might be a bit controversial. But honestly, it has problems. SAS Anti-Terror Force. The training level is... A lot of its scripting is very busted. But the gunplay feels... There's way worse. There's way worse feeling gunplay. In fact, let me look at the just bad tier. Actually, I would argue Fugitive Hunter feels worse to play. And, you know, Durga Cerberus as well. It's a third-person shooter, but that's way worse gunplay. And, you know, it kind of makes sense. Like, Skyscraper, I would definitely say, which is the same studio as Atomic Planet, is a more interesting game. But just to see, like, someone try to make a first-person shooter that has this, like, tactical aesthetic using so little money. But yeah. I don't think I could call it just bad, because I didn't completely hate my time with it. It is a short game. Its lack of checkpointing is probably its worst aspect, and some of the levels that are very the levels are too big and they want you to search around for stuff. But escorting, like, when you have to escort people, you only have to do it once, and it's surprisingly not difficult. And your allies, though they work mostly scripted, are actually incredibly efficient. They can kill enemies and clean rooms like it's nothing. They are surprisingly effective. And when we compare it to Sum of All Fears on GameCube, for example, that's way worse. Also, you know, there is a PS2 version of that. I guess I could technically rank that as well, but I think even the PS2 version of that would be in the just bad. But I think I'm going to save that for a future tier list. But the GameCube version is especially poor. Like, that's the thing. Sum of All Fears is in some sense, a more technically advanced game. Like, it looks better, but I think it's way worse to play. Your squad are so much... They're essentially useless. It's even more restrictive of a game. Honestly, just the aesthetic of SAS trying to be tactical ends up doing better than Sum of All Fears. And Sum of All Fears is, you know, a proper development team. Now, this has made me rethink some of the games I've tiered on here. There might be some hot takes here, but I'm looking at the bad but good tier here, right? And Enter the Matrix, now that I have these comparisons... Also, yeah, Terminator 3 has way worse feeling shooting than, I think, SAS Anti-Terror Force. It's lucky that it has so many guns, and they have so many goofy, futuristic guns. Enter the Matrix is so much better than most of the stuff in here. That should be in good tier. And honestly, the bouncer, I think the bouncer I'm going to put in a good tier as well. It has some weaker parts. Maybe. It's like a decent looking game, but its story is very complicated, and you have to play in such a weird way as well. There's a lot of bad aspects to the bouncer. I talked myself out of it. I think anytime I think about it, because you compare it to like The Sopranos, which is not a good game, but I think is actually far more entertaining than people give it credit for, especially if you like Sopranos. But the Bouncer's actually, like, its combat is not that far removed from some of what The Sopranos does, right? And its progression is very weird. It has some, like, real bad levels. Like some of the levels are so short. Some of the escorting is really rough. All the grinding you have to do to make the characters feel good to play. The constant blur that is on that game as well. There's like a weird like Vaseline smudge filter they put on the graphics. I feel like if the dev team had got to put out the version of the game they'd shown in previews, I would put it up higher, but yeah. I will say, I don't feel great about putting Final Fantasy X-2 in bad but good. But I feel like I have to put that there on principle. Because I think if it wasn't a follow-up to Final Fantasy X, I would not put it so low. But I think as a concept, it completely ruins the ending of Final Fantasy X. I think by having a sequel, if they had distanced it a bit and had mostly new characters, like it was in the same world, right? And its story didn't ultimately link to Tidus and things like that, I would put it higher. And it still looks fine. The voice acting is still decent. But it's mostly just like a dress-up game. I feel like people like it more for that than any actual part of playing it or the story. And Pain, their replacement for Lulu, because they decided Lulu had to get pregnant. She has no personality. She is a design, and that is it. Like, she has no character aspect. And it's also quite buggy as well. There's, like, parts of the game where it, like, the objective stuff. Yeah, it just... I don't think it... That's why I kind of put it there. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I think I'm fine keeping there. Though, I'm going to replay that one. Some of these we are gonna play as part of the playthrough, like Need for Speed, Undercover PS2, Resident Evil Dead Aim. And then all the stuff after there is mostly bad Game Hall of Fame, except for Constantine. But I definitely think now that I look at it with these other bad games for context, yeah, Enter the Matrix I can put higher. The problem is Enter the Matrix does have a lot of flaws. It is a janky looking game. It is an unfinished game. It has a lot of polish that should have been put to the game, but they had to release it in time for the movies. But the core gameplay is still really fun, is the thing. You know, like, it does make you feel like the characters you play as, you know. And anyone who was moaning about not playing as Neo, like, did not get it. And I've messed with Path of Neo, and that game has some issues because it has to put you in the shoes of a character who, for example, most of the first film did not do action scenes. And most of the action scenes were like training montages or things like that. And by the time he is the main action star, he is doing Superman shit. But, you know, we'll get to that game one day and we'll see. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. There's a chance I might change this. I might at some point, we might pick up the bouncer again, because I played through as the main character, who I don't remember his name, because I just want to call him Sora, because he looks like Sora or Roxas from fucking Kingdom Hearts, but that's not his thing. And yeah, Lowen points out, great point. Having fun core gameplay is a hurdle that some games, many games don't manage to clear. Yeah, and even fun games. Like, there's some games I ended up putting in the good tier because they are fun to a point. That they undermine the fun. Like Time Splitters, some of the campaign levels are such a pain to get through. Wipeout Fusion, the core racing's fun, but the like Gran Turismo GP style undermines it, and various ones in there. Yep, you know, if you want to get more specific on stuff, you're best to look at the past streams. Though I do want to at some point make like 1-2 minute videos for each game in the tier list, and you know, explain my reasoning. But I think this is where I am happy leaving stuff today. And especially with Dynasty Warriors 2. When I got to part 2, where we dropped the difficulty down, and we finished the campaign we started, at that point I was already like, yeah, no, this game is mid. It's the best way I can put it. Honestly, it is interesting as a launch title, and that's about it. Lolan asks, and I'll answer this. If PlayStation 3 games are off the table for bad games of the month, you mean the club in the Bad Game Hall of Fame Discord? I would do a poll to ask people. It would be fun. I know that RPS 3 is getting easier to use. It's gotten a lot of updates that have made it better. But what I would do in that situation is I would poll and see how many people can get PlayStation 3 stuff running. I would consider it, though. You know, for the last month, I did a poll because I wanted to see if people were willing to play the really bad Far Cry game on Wii. And most people said, like, yeah, I can't set up or I can't do the motion controls. Which is, you know, totally fair. Some people checked it out anyway because of that. But I do know what we're doing next month. For that's a pre-planned one, so do look forward to that. But now, the big thing we've got to do now is I've got to pick what the next playthrough is going to be. Because, yeah, that's done. And Beyond Good and Evil's done. Yeah, I could cross that off. I've got a Google Doc that I use for reference. And let me check. Yeah, the only other ongoing one right now is Champions of Norrath, which I do on weekends when people are available to do the online. So that's just going to be ongoing for a couple of weeks. Fucking Tulip. Oh, I've seen not a full playthrough, but like a highlight video of a full playthrough. That is a fucking follow a walkthrough for the entire game thing. That you're maybe more likely to see on the Bad Game Hall of Fame. That's the thing. If it's a game I know we're going to eventually cover in the Bad Game Hall of Fame, I'm probably going to avoid it here. Tulip is an interesting game, but it is so cryptic. I know there are specific... Like, you essentially have to 100% that game, and some of the requirements require you to have intricate knowledge of Japanese train lines, for example. So, yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Because Time Splitters was not too long ago, I don't want to do a shooting game yet. So I'm actually thinking of doing like a platform style game. We haven't really done anything like that in a while. I'm looking through the master list that I've got here. I do want to get to racing games again at some point. I just want to make sure there's been enough distance with Wipeout. Wipeout Fusion got stretched so long. It's funny, it's not actually a long playthrough. It felt long. Because you have to grind and repeat races and GPs so many times, and you do see the same courses so many times. That felt like I played that game for 20-30 hours, and I only played it for like 10. It shocked me. But for example, I really want to do the PlayStation 2 Gran Turismo games, but those are going to be long playthroughs, so I would be doing other games at the same time. It might literally be, oh, we'll do a GP for like an hour, and then we would swap games kind of thing. So I might do another more casual racing game before then. I'm kind of thinking Need for Speed, but I'm not quite in the mood for that yet. So you know what I think I'm going to do? I was thinking about this. So I think I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to do Jak and Daxter. Because, believe it or not, I missed out on pretty much all three of the big, like, platformers of the PlayStation 2 era. Jak and Daxter, Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper. I didn't play any of those on PlayStation 2. I got into Ratchet & Clank on the PlayStation 3. Straight up, like, Ratchet & Clank, A Crack in Time is one of my favorite games on PlayStation 3. But I've actually never played any of the PS2 ones. I've messed, you know, like messed with them, but I've never like fully played them. And yeah, that is the problem, you know. And you mentioned it, yeah, our household where I had to choose one of the three so we could afford them all. That's the thing. They're, you know, the PlayStation 2 was such a huge hit. So many games were coming out of it. So many amazing games. That's why I do this series, is because there's so many like big games for that system that I missed out on, that I wanted to play. And some of them have ended up in my like masterpiece tier even. That shows you like how important some of those games are. So, and I did mess with Jak and Daxter 1. I think me and my nephew looked at it like a year ago. And I really liked what I played of it. It's funny, I remember playing a demo for it, and it's a stupid thing, but I didn't like how the combat felt, because the default attack is that like weird zoom forward punch. And I can't explain it. I was just an idiot, I guess. I thought it was weird that he didn't have a standing punch. I guess I was thinking of Tekken and shit. But, like, I've played it since. It's like, no, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And actually, that game does a lot of cool stuff. So, yeah, no, as always, Lonan, Unless there's some reason I can't, I do original hardware. Because this series is about showcasing the games as they would be at the time. There are some situations, for example, Champions of Norrath co-op, because of the way that game works in PCSX2, unfortunately, the net play doesn't work if one player is on console and one player is on emulator. So so for the time being, we all have to play on emulator, because I have the setup to do PlayStation 2 on real hardware online. You need a lot of equipment. You need a lot of stuff. So the first thing you would need is obviously you need the console. The PlayStation Slim already has the Ethernet adapter built in, but you don't have the hard drive, and that does limit what games you can play online. Also, for a lot of PlayStation, not almost all, but for a lot of PlayStation 2 games that have online support, if you want to get onto fan servers, you need patched ISOs. So you either need the hard drive for that, and specifically if you're doing it with a fat PlayStation 2, you buy this board that you screw in and attach into the network adapter that lets you use a SATA drive instead of the old IDE ones. So you need that. And then, of course, you need FreeMac boot so you can use digital backups and all sorts. But it does work. I've played SOCOM 2, Combined Assault, Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, Resident Evil Outbreak. You can play a lot of PlayStation 2 games online still. It's just unfortunately with Champions of Norrath, that game is coded in a weird way, so the emulator passes information different than the console does, so they just break if you try and play them together. But aside from that, I'm pretty much all original hardware for these streams. And yeah, Raw Rose was expensive for a long time. In fact, it's actually gone down in price a couple of times, because it's really rare in the PAL region. It was supposed to come out in the UK, but there was a stupid manufactured moral panic outrage over it, where people were claiming it was going to have content that it never did. So it never actually officially got released in the UK. So if you wanted to play it, you were having to import, copies from other European countries. Granted, they were essentially the same. They just, because in PAL they just released the same version in multiple regions, and it has the language select option. But recently, in the last few years, unsold copies that were just sitting in warehouses have been found. So I think a bunch of Italian copies were just found, and recently a warehouse full of UK versions was found. So the price actually did drop. Here's the thing. Outside of maybe some rare few occasions, I'm not really a collector who's going to spend hundreds on a game. I'm fine not owning the super rare games that, there's only a couple thousand copies of. So I have other means to play a Rule of Rose, for example. And then there's some games that are even rare. There's like a Korean game that had online that got localized recently, where there's literally only a few thousand copies of. It's essentially impossible to get a copy of that one. But yeah, it is interesting, those developments have happened with Raw Rose, where people just keep finding copies that have just been in warehouses for 20 years. Yeah, no, Raw Rose, I wouldn't say it's poorly made. I'm trying to think what's the best way to phrase it. It doesn't play well. I wouldn't say it's poorly made. It's just its gameplay was not a priority. But to say it was not well made, I think discounts how good the game looks, its storytelling, its atmosphere, things like that. But it is a incredibly hard game to play, because it controls, and the combat is very awkward. But yeah. So I'm not sure when the next stream will be. Hopefully, it will be Sunday. It will be very late because it'll be in US time zone. But on tomorrow we will probably do more Champions and Norrath, unless something comes up, but that's the plan currently. And with Bad Game Hall of Fame tonight, we are doing Bad Game Chance Time, though for reasons the streams are now starting an hour later. And you know, I'm UK based, but I normally operate on a US time zone, so I get it. You know, if you're not available for that time, you could check stuff out on the VOD channel. But, you know, I sometimes end up, you know, either on the Bad Game Hall of Fame, or if I'm doing stuff with Joe of PS2 or Die, with those streams will be, you know, like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, whatever. But, you know, you can always check out my old streams on my VOD channel. Yeah, let's just go to the chatting screen. But yeah, if there's any streams you ever miss, because sometimes I do stream at odd hours, those are on YouTube at Johnny Baghead VODS. Because, you know, Twitch VODs only stay around for a couple of days, and highlights, they basically got rid of highlights because you can only have 100 hours of highlights. Which if you stream like once a week, then that's not even enough for once a week for a year, you know? And then my highlight channel is just at Johnny Baghead. I do want to try and get a video out for July, but we have to see. Because it's been fucking hot. It's been hard to do anything. And I need to record some stuff for that. But we'll see. We'll see on that. And yeah, if you want updates, you can follow me on Blue Sky. Again, at Johnny Baghead. I do have a Twitter, but I haven't logged on in a while. And almost all the interactions on my account on there are bot ones. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I need to fix my bags is a problem. There's some stuff I need to do, so they're not camera ready right now. But I'm going to get those sorted soon, so you will see me on camera again soon. And, yeah, that's basically it, I think. Yep, keep tuned. Again, you want stream updates, follow me on Blue Sky. I will mention when I'm thinking of starting Jak and Daxter. And we might pick up another game as well. It depends on how long that one takes. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the show. And yeah, I'll be back soon, hopefully. So see ya!